All right, folks, got a spicy one here for you. Another interesting matchup. Um, List is pretty much the same. I'm locked in on this one for SCG Syracuse, so I'm trying to get practice in with it. But yeah, let's jump into the match. So we're gonna be doing a replay of a match. This was against Blue Black Ninjas, which is not. I treat it somewhere between Delver and like Grixis control type of deck. I'm not. It tends to be a little slower than Delver, um, but it can be um, it can be pretty quick. I don't know. It's somewhere on that spectrum of tempo to control, and it can be a little tricky to sideboard for because it depends on like which direction they lean in, either by what you see or just by what the cards they happen to draw on a per game basis can affect the outcome of the game. So anyway, so I lost the roll, so I'm on the draw, and that hand I kept. I don't know what I'm up against at this point, but this hand's pretty reasonable. You cantrip on turn 1, Thoughtseize on turn 2. If you find a Dark Rat, you could be dropping a Frenzy on turn 3 pretty easily. So it's a pretty reasonable hand. They just lead on islands, so I'm thinking miracles at this point. I drew a second discard spell, so now I'm thinking like cantrip 1 on cantrip on turn 1, collective, or even Thoughtseize on turn 1, collective brutality on turn 2, whatever spell I haven't cast on turn 3, and then I can frenzy on turn 4. I'm pretty sure I just get Underground Sea at this point, and I lead on the Preordain. I found a Dark Rit and a Lotus Petal, which means that next turn I can Thoughtseize, and if they don't have anything, I can just cast Frenzy immediately. So they brainstorm on my end step, and then they drop a Baleful Strix up here, I believe. Yep. And so I untap and I draw my Lotus Petal, and I probably should have played the Delta here, but I play the Badlands. Thoughtseize. Oh, they couldn't see that. But anyway, let's see if I can get a glimpse here. Yep, they had Brainstorm. They had Force of Will, which I took, and then Brainstorm, Liliana, and a Ninja, and some lands. So I just slammed the Frenzy here. And it resolves, of course. And there's a Dark Red on top, so I'm kind of stuck. But I figure at this point I'm in a good spot. So I let them do their thing. And they just play their Brainstorm, play Mutavault out and pass. And it seems like their Brainstorm locked, so I'm feeling real good. My Pondor isn't great. I got another land, but I have to shuffle away that Doomsday. And there's another Doomsday on top that I can't cast. So I'm going to slow down a little bit here. Here they fire up the Mutavault, and then they're going to flash in the Ingenious Infiltrator. So they have a pretty stacked hand at this point. They've brainstormed, and they've drawn a couple cards now. 2 cards off this. So they could have counter magic at this point. So I cast this other third Doomsday that's on top of my deck. And they paused for a while here and let it resolve. So here's my mistake. I mess up my pile a little bit here. I do. Let's see if I can see what we end up doing here. So LED, LED, Thoughtseize, Jace is what I end up doing. And I basically put it in almost that order. So Jace on the bottom, and then Thoughtseize, LED, LED. What I should have done was probably do Jace, Thoughtseize, and then 3 LEDs, because if they force an LED, I'm not going to be able to go off. I won't have enough mana. If they have 2 forces, I'm going to be in trouble regardless. Like, then they would have 2 opportunities to force a Lion's Eye Diamond or whatever, and I'm definitely not going off. So probably what I should have done was just say, I can beat 1 force. And if they have double force, then so be it. But I didn't do that. I didn't do that pile, and so we'll see what happens here. So I put all the cards back, and then I play out one Lion's Eye Diamond, and they force it. So I play out the second Lion's Eye Diamond, but I can't do anything now. So what I'm thinking here, my game plan at this point, is that I pass the turn, I draw one Thoughtseize, I play the second Thoughtseize, and then I Jace and kill them. The issue with that is I need them to not do 4 damage to me. And they have 4 power on the board. So basically I'm thinking I'm looking for them to try and set something up, like use all their mana trying to do greedy stuff so that they can't do 4 damage to me, and then I can Thoughtseize. The other thing that I probably should have done is just not make these Thoughtseizes. There wasn't really a good reason for them to be Thoughtseizes. Like, assuming I'm going off that turn, there's no creatures that are going to get in my way, so they should have just been Duresses, and then I wouldn't have had to worry about that. But the end result is actually even more interesting. So I just passed the turn here, since I feel like there's still a slim possibility of me winning this game. And let's see what happens. Surprise, motherfucker. Echoing Truth, my fucking Experimental Frenzy. So, main deck Echoing Truth. I guess it's sort of common in the Blue-Black Ninjas deck because it's an answer to random permanents and it can bounce their ninjas in a pinch so they can ninjutsu again. So, like, I get why it's there. I think it's only a one of. It's still kind of bullshit. But anyway, they bounced my Frenzy, and now this is where I realized that my chances of winning might actually have gone up if they do that, because it means that this Collective Brutality in my hand is unlocked as a discard spell. And now they can't kill me. Like, they could only do 4 damage and they couldn't kill me before, but I would have had to cast a Thoughtseize to like get to the Jace that's in my deck. Now I have Collective Brutality as a discard spell, and I have Preordain to get to the Jace that's in my deck. So at this point I'm thinking I actually have a higher probability of winning now that they bounced my Frenzy, which is kind of wild. I'm just going to hit play now. So they play Snapcaster Mage and they just Brainstorm, and then they hit me for 2, so they did end up using all of their mana and were unable to do the full 4 damage to me, which was interesting. But anyway, so that means that I can actually cast 2 discard spells now. So here, if we just pause here, I can cast Dark Ritual, which you can see that I did, and that gives me the 3 mana for Brutality and Thoughtseize, and then I still have enough mana left over to Preordain into Jace and Jace myself for the kill. So we'll get to see here that after I hit them with a discard, they actually don't even have anything. There's just nothing. And so it all goes according to plan. I Thoughtseize them just for the bad manners, and then I Preordain into Jace and activate Jace for the kill. So fucking got away with that one. But yeah, definitely outside the realm of normal. Game 2 was pretty uninteresting from my perspective. I'm just going to hit play and let it go. This hand was not great because it didn't really do a whole lot. That hand is better, but again, it's kind of not thrilling, but I'm on the draw, so it's more keepable. Now I have a turn 2 kill if they have nothing, but the chances of them having nothing, especially... Actually, the chances of them having nothing were pretty low. But they actually end up having him here, which sucked. And now, after this, I kind of just never draw anything else. They don't have a lot going on at that point. 2 Fatal Pushes and a Baleful Strix, and I take the Strix, and we kind of just sit here and like jerk ourselves off for a little while. But I just never managed to find anything. They crack some fetch lands at weird times. I cantrip a bunch, and I never find more land. And there's one point where I Brainstorm here. I don't hit another land. Is it here? I don't hit another land, so I can't like put LED back on. I mean, friend fucking empty back on bottom, and then cantrip into it with the LEDs. And here they play Yuriko, and after this, I see that they have. Like I could have just gone for it there and made like 8 goblins, but I was trying to set something else up, and now I see that I learned they have a Force of Will because they reveal it to Yuriko, and so it kind of just goes downhill from here. They drew a lot better than I did because I never found more land, and Yuriko kind of runs away with the game. And there's really not a lot more to it than that, I don't think. I never find red mana to be able to Pyroblast the Yuriko, although I feel like Pyroblast is pretty good in this matchup because a lot of their threats are blue. So it hits most of their threats and hits their counterspells. But anyway, that's kind of beside the point. I have to shuffle that away and just draw another Lion's Eye Diamond, and I just concede there. I'm not strictly dead there, but I'm pretty dead, so I just concede. That one kind of just didn't go my way. So in game 3, let's see. So I'm on the play again, and my opener is a no-lander and missing any kind of Imperial Business spell, so I mull this. And then this one is a make 8 goblins on turn 1, or I could cantrip on turn 1 and try and make 10 to 12 goblins for the next turn. So I keep that, and I'm going to put Lim-Dûl's Vault on the bottom. And here I kind of have a little bit of a debate about whether or not I want to just make the goblins or cantrip. But I was thinking back to the hymn from last time, and the fact that they kept on 7. And I kind of figure like they're going to probably have some discard hymn and maybe even Thoughtseize. And they're definitely going to have Fluster and Pierce and stuff like that. So like my chances are probably better if I just gamble on them having Force of Will. And so I go for it. I make my 8 goblins. Interestingly enough, they actually did have Force of Will, but they didn't force my ritual. And they pitched a creature. So I get 6 goblins. And at this point, I'm kind of thinking, like, I'll do as much damage as I can with this and try and set up to cast a Frenzy at some point in the game. So I come in with the gobs, and then I play my Badlands and I cantrip, and I grab those cards. I can play out the LED. So actually, I don't know if you got a chance to see that. It was LED, Preordain, and Frenzy, and I'm thinking I can play out the LED, and then next turn I can Preordain, crack LED, and cantrip into Frenzy. But they had a Spell Pierce for my LED, so that's all well and good. Here they have a Strix, which is okay. I'm just going to attack into the Strix. I don't think it actually... I mean, I guess it slows me down by 1 turn. It slows my clock down by 1 turn. By them having a blocker, since I have exactly 6 goblins. And so now I'm thinking, I'm just on the game plan of trying to get to Frenzy mana and hope that they're spending their resources on stopping my goblins, that I can get enough mana and they won't have a way to stop my Frenzy. So I come in one more time, put them down to 2, and it's getting tight, but I still have lethal on board at this point. So they play a Fairy Seer, they scry, they do a cute trick, they attack with Yuriko, which takes away a blocker, but it draws them a Brainstorm, which is obviously why they did it. So it is a cute trick, but Brainstorm found nothing, and so they didn't have enough blockers, and I was able to win the game with just 6 goblins. So I think the moral of the story here is don't be afraid to only make like 8 goblins, especially on turn 1, and especially against these somewhat threat-light decks, or decks that are more likely to be holding up a shitload of counter magic on their turn 1. 6 to 8 goblins can be enough, and even if it's not, it can buy you enough time to try and aim for something else. So anyway, yeah, kind of a wild roller coaster of a match, but pretty neat, pretty interesting. Thanks for watching.